How's it going, everybody? So now we made the tongs on the last couple videos, so now it's time to put them to good use. I'm not going to use these as in quite the way you normally use it to actually hold on to it. It's going to be more transferring the material in and out of the forge. But I sent some sample pictures of what I planned on making to somebody, and they seemed like they were interested, wanted to know how much. So I wanted to see just how much work it was going to take before I actually said, hey, you know, it'll be this much or that much. If you've seen my 3-part series on making tools, we're going to be using the ball punch today. And essentially what I did is I took the railroad spike, which we're going to make a double hooked railroad spike. And I went 1.5 inches from the base of the head and just put a little divot with a small drill bit, just big enough for this tipped index and something I can see when it comes out of the forge. Then from this hole to this hole, I did 1.25 inches. When I drive this in, it'll widen this out a little bit, and it'll also tip the edges. But we'll go ahead and get to that part to making the hook after we get this hot. So now that you've seen what we're working with, let's go ahead and get this in the forge, and we'll go ahead and get started. So sad as it may be, guys, the tongs I made are perfect. They hold these perfect. The worst part about them is the fact that they don't fit in the forge very well because my forge is too small. But I'm going to go ahead and take my ball end punch, find that divot in there, give it a smack. Get my next one. And get this back in the fire. So a lot of this is going to come down to preference of how much you want that balled out. But I have a little bit of a plan. I'm gonna try to make custom nails for these, and we'll see how that goes. Either that, or you can use screws, or however you're gonna make this for your own house. Alright, we're super hot. Let's go ahead and do that again. And just in case you can't tell, I'm hanging the head off a little bit, just to make sure that doesn't deform, because one of the nice things about making these hooks out of railroad spike is knowing that it was made out of a railroad spike. See, that one's off a little bit, so I'm going to see if I can move that over a little bit. Alright, I think now that it's dark, you guys can kind of see, hopefully. It gives a little bit of a bulge, and I kind of like the way that looks. And it'll mount on a wall like this. So flat, this will come out, this will tip out, and you can hang your hat up and jacket or hoodie on the bottom. But now we're going to go ahead and get this hot again. This time we're going to go like this, and then ball end punch that, hopefully, without hurting myself or burning my fingers. So, go ahead and bring you back when we get to that part. So, I went ahead and I changed out that piece of round steel after I thought about it for more than a second for another railroad spike. And this will help it grab that anvil a little bit better. And all we're going to do is go in here. As soon as you can hear that anvil, you know it's bent a little bit. And I'm not sure if that's as far as I need it, but it gives it a nice kick. Everything's still flat, So now I'm going to go ahead and put it back in the fire. I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. Alright, we'll go ahead and we'll set this just like that. And I'm going to line up the end of that taper with the far edge of the railroad spike. Readjust it. And it's good to cool your punch every once in a while. Let's see what we're kind of looking like here. So yeah, definitely need to put more of a bend in that, but you're kind of, hopefully you can kind of see what we're going for. To the mount like that. Yeah, it definitely needs a lot more of a bend. I might have to go pretty far up there. Quite a little more extreme this time. Hopefully it doesn't shoot that railroad spike too far. Probably have to Yep. So I'm going to bend this a little bit farther, flatten that back off, and I'll go ahead and bring you guys in when that's all done. Okay, that was a quick and easy one. There are some things that do different, so we're going to go ahead and go over that. So this is what we started out with. Just a plain railroad spike. Listed the dimensions I drilled, or did the holes or recesses on in the very beginning. That's what we ended up with. So yeah, it's still one. So this would mount on the wall like that, and then you would have this spot and this spot to hang your hat and coat, or however you wanted to do it. One thing I definitely do different, you can kind of see there's a flat spot, but it's not quite flat between the two indents I put in there, and then I drilled those, and I don't see them not being, or I don't see them being perfectly straight every time. But with boards in your home or anything like that, they're not off far enough to where they're not going to hit the board the same. The one thing I would do though is probably do this bend in the vise every time. I took it to the vise after I did a little bit more of a bend with that railroad spike, and I think this would just be better with a nice crisp line, and then this back would be flat. So when you mount it against the wall like this, there's a nice angle there. I mean, it's nice to have non-harsh angles, but I'm afraid that after this is nailed on there, if they ever get loose, it'll rock every time you put something on it. And I don't like the idea of that. So this was a good test piece. I might use this around my garage, but it's definitely a fun little beginner project for sure. If you haven't already, like, share, subscribe. Let me know what you think of that. I have my opinions, but I'm also pretty harsh on myself. I definitely wouldn't sell this one to the person who's asking, who I was asking about them. So I'm going to go ahead and I might test another one of these tonight, where I might do another video. I haven't decided yet, but there's another look for that. And I'll go ahead and put this railroad spike up next to it so you guys can see the difference there. And this is how it would mount on the wall. Well, that's how it would mount on the wall. So, alright, there you go.